Good afternoon. Group 5 thought about self-cesarean section because many times we find that women, pregnant mothers who have been allocated to deliver by cesarean section have to make a choice between anesthesia. So we named our topic self-cesarean section. The objective of this objective of our topic is to empower women who are scheduled for cesarean section birth to make an informed choice of the anesthetic. The methods we are going to use, we are going to have a video recording of the process of spinal anesthesia, because we think that the mothers don't have much information, especially the mothers in the lab. They don't have much knowledge about spinal anesthesia and they don't know how safe it might be. So we are going to have a video recording in theater to demonstrate the advantages and the disadvantages of spinal anesthesia. We are also going to use brochures both in English and the local languages which are mostly used within Kampala, that is Uganda. And we are also going to have posters with information that is easily understood by mothers. This information we are also going to target mothers in the antenatal care clinics, but also when they come for anesthesia clinics. So the resources that we are going to use, we are going to have like a flat screen TV. We have this one here. And we are going to have recorders, posters, and a human resource. Human resource, we thought about people who are going to deliver this information in antenatal clinics, and this will be trained midwives. You have to train them. M&E, we thought that, we are going to do a pilot study because we don't know at the moment how many mothers choose spinal anesthesia or even know whether they have a choice. Many mothers, we think that they just go in, they don't know that they can make a choice, and many mothers, we think that they fear to choose spinal anesthesia. So we think that we are going to conduct a pilot study to be able to judge how many mothers are coming in with informed choice on the kind of anesthesia that they want. So we hope that by doing a pilot study, we are going to appreciate the challenges, and then we shall have a mitigation plan for these challenges. That's all we had.
Okay. Thank you, Group 5. So you also had one issue of monitoring the outcome, but you have not said how you monitor the communication. At that particular point or in the meeting you have with the mothers, how will you know that they have understood the posters, the brochures, and the videos?
Actually, we discussed in our it's only that we didn't put it on the PowerPoint, but we said that we are going to have these sessions during the antenatal clinics, and we are going to measure their understanding before we give these talks and after we have given the information to try and understand what level, where they were before we gave the talks and where they will be after we have given the talks.
They are going to
So
do
we are
a
going to have a
pre and post test
sort of
for the mothers.
sort of, but not really like a written pre and post, but we thought that we will engage, like you engage your participants to try to understand at what level they are, even without them having to write.
And the challenges, we wanted to know some of the challenges that might help you support your methods and tools.
The challenges. Actually, when we thought about challenges, we thought that at this level we may not be able to tell which challenges we might face, but we thought that after we are going to do that baseline sort of survey, we shall come across challenge. What stops them from choosing spinal anesthesia versus general anesthesia or cesarean section? Yes, please, you had a question?
I was just wondering, just an example, saying choose of all languages, of how you put anesthesia across.
Yes, we had a brainstorming session for these terminologies: anesthesia, spinal, general anesthesia, and we have learned that in the community out there they will say half sleep, to put it like in quotes. In Uganda they will say yes. So we thought about these terminologies which would be understood by the communities in their local languages. So we are not going to use like these terms like anesthesia on our documents.
Okay. So you have one big issue, and that's on the first. Safe cesarean sections. What have you convinced anybody that this is safe? So if that's your slogan, I would expect that every woman walks away and feels safe. How does the woman feel safe? Mr. Anesthesiologist, you're on.
So basically what we wanted to put across was that what is safe is that, actually what we wanted to compare was general and spinal. So the public thinks that actually general is much safer than spinal.
Mm-hmm.
So what we wanted to put across that spinal is actually safer than general anesthesia. The information we're going to give for a pregnant mother.
And how much safer is it?
Okay, so
No, let him grapple with it a little bit. Yeah, this is totally fine. Yeah.
If we look at numbers, because there are different complications that occur. So, for example, in a non-pregnant woman, it's the chances of failing to put in the tube for breathing is 1 out of 2,000. For a pregnant woman, it's 1 out of 200.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that actually, if I don't have put in the tube, I'm safe about 10 times as compared to putting it to sleep.
Okay, here's something that's meaningful. Yeah, I just made you 10 times safer. Yeah, even for a person who's completely illiterate, knowing that I'm 10 times safer with this procedure over the other procedure is a reassurance for me to actually change my behavior. And we're back at the change the behavior. Yeah. What it could also backfire is that my local clinic only offers full anesthesia, so you're actually raising a lot of concern that this is really risky for me to go to this local clinic. So this could be a very unintended consequence. So you have to be really clear that if you say this, you have to promise it, that I am safe. Yeah. Nothing is going to happen to me, because that's what I hear in the word safety. I'm in good hands and nothing is going to happen. Yeah. So be aware of that when you say things like that. That they can be because they're not clinicians. They have no knowledge. They don't, yeah. I mean, that 10 times safer is a good selling point, but it makes the other thing really unsafe. Yeah. And so you're contrasting that. Yeah. So if a mother needs full anesthesia, she will be totally panicked that, oh my God, now I'm in this totally unsafe realm. Yeah. So your message needs to be understood and not misinterpreted in any possible way. Yeah. And that's why it is so important to use communication specialists that can really point out these things, because we think different. We think based on our clinical knowledge and not how people interpret information and use this information and perpetuate information. Because if suddenly no woman shows up to your clinic anymore because they say, I'm not so sure that this is all that kosher. Yeah? And you don't want this. You don't want this unintended consequence. Okay.